Hello, welcome to Dr. Shiny Tarot. This is a reading for December for Capricorn. So, hello, my Capricorn friends. Let's see what's going on in your life. All right, so okay, lots of negative card, or not negative, but in the reverse. Let's move these. Okay. So, what's going on with you is the Ace of Swords in the reverse. So this could be sort of resistant to a new mindset or a new idea. There could be kind of a struggle going on with you here where things have kind of changed a little bit. Well, you got three aces here. Very interesting. So things have kind of changed a little bit. You're a little resistant to getting with the program as far as like what everybody else is thinking, what everybody else wants you to think, or just this new mindset. It didn't used to be this way. It is that way now, and it's kind of it's irking you a little bit, right? There's this unwillingness to adopt this new mindset, which is natural. People once, especially if you've got things going some good way, some particular good kind of way, you're not going to want to flip things around or flip the script abruptly. So what we have crossing you is this Two of Swords in the reverse. This could be a self-doubt. Now I really think normally this is strongly associated with like a self-doubt, which is a little internalized. She can't even see out. But in the situation of where this is crossing you, this very much could be in an external sort of way too. So it could be doubting that this new sort of way of life that you're being confronted with is a good thing. So I always sort of push everybody back toward, as above, so below. What you're seeing in the external world is kind of a reflection of what's going on with you. So if you're seeing tension and chaos and all kinds of things like that, there's a little bit of that happening internally, and it could be as the result of trying to kind of assimilate this new energy. Because what you have here, the ace, it immediately precedes the Two of Swords, right? So there's this transition that is supposed to be happening, but both of them are in the reverse, and so there's a resistance to this transition. And in fact, all of these here are in the reverse, which means there's kind of just a general, I keep using the word resistance, but that's pretty apt. It's this sort of, you're not wanting to go down this road so much. There's a little bit of something forcing you to, but it's just really kind of more like, it could be even like a slightly cynical attitude about it where, you're not looking at the bright side so much. You're kind of looking at what you're not liking about this. So you're coming from or coming away from this Fool in the reverse. So this could be the fool is actually, it's when you call people a fool, it sounds very negative, but it's actually really a great energy. It's somebody who kind of trusts and lets go and doesn't want to sort of overthink things too much. They just sort of go for it. And in the upright position, you can see she's sitting here hanging over a cliff, and oh boy, how exhilarating, right? So in the reverse, again, that's a more of a resistance to that kind of energy, or it can be kind of like a foolishness to your detriment. So you're moving away from that energy. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have been a fool in the past or something like that, but you could be like traveling away from somebody who was, or just in general, you're getting away from the idea that you need to control things, that you need to be the sort of master of your own destiny, right? So let's move on, and I'll give you a little more clarification there when we get to the Five of Pentacles. But the energy that you're moving toward is this Empress, this nurturing. She's. I mean, almost always she's associated with pregnancy or being a mother, the divine feminine. So this is, or maybe even a grandmother, right? So this is an energy that is very nurturing, positive, affirming, and all that. But even in this one, it's in the negative, so it's more of not wanting to do that so much. But you are moving in that direction regardless, whether you want to or not. So. It's something to be embraced. It's a beautiful aspect of life. It may not be something that you it particularly strikes your fancy, but it is something that's very beautiful and something that will serve you well in the long run. The foundation, I told you we'd kind of clarify that a little more. The Five of Pentacles is about feeling like everything kind of sucks. There's this like downtrodden or almost even a depression. But the thing is that the key to this door that's locked is sitting right there, and she's not really paying attention to it. She's not seeing it. So the idea here is that things are really a lot better than they feel, that there is this tendency to focus on like the negative things, the things I don't have, the control that I don't have. I don't have the ability to just do it on my own. And there is a need to sort of reach out for help or charity, that type of thing, and it is a good thing that you have these forces in your life. And the foundation of the situation is you're learning how to depend a little bit less on yourself and to depend on others a little bit more, even I think for emotional fulfillment. So we all have, in some degree, this intrinsic need to take care of something or take care of another. So if you're really not attracted to that idea, start with something small. Start with something with like a house plant that's very difficult to kill and sort of check in on it every day and just get used to seeing the joy in this sort of nurturing and caring environment or attitude. Because it's going to be necessary for you to reach a sense of fulfillment in other areas of your life for you to cultivate this attitude. You are moving that direction. So it's like, we call experiences to ourselves for a reason. And, there's some people kind of just think, well, what happens, happens. It's just the luck of the draw. But it's not. The external world is a manifestation of what's going on within you. So what's going on here is you might be super annoyed by something or it's like abrasive to you because that's exactly what you need. That's exactly your weakness or soft spot that is being tempered or developed. Speaking of temperance, in your mind here is temperance. This is your crowning thoughts. So this is about the mixing of opposites, and sometimes there's sort of a violent reaction. There is when you temper a sword, you heat it up really hot, you hit it with a hammer really hard over and over and over again, and in the process it becomes stronger, it becomes harder. And so I think part of you does understand this because this is in the crowning thoughts, your conscious mind. You know that there is an aspect of this situation that's positive, that you have to go through. That doesn't mean that you're happy about it. It doesn't mean that you're just diving in with optimism or something. But part of you does know to sort of to go through this, to recognize that there's a benefit in it. So really the difficulty here is going to be reduced just by sort of changing that mindset into being a little more positive and looking forward to what's happening here or seeing the bright side. I get when things have been going the way that we wanted for some time, then it can be a challenge to move on. But I don't know that things have really been going well to begin with. So this could be just some held over negative energy from the more negative things that have occurred here. So in this sense, normally we have something good and we temper it with something that we think of as sort of more bad. It could be the other way around here, where there's this sort of negative cynicism or not depression. That's too strong of a word for this situation, but stubbornness, something like that, and you're sort of tempering it with a more brighter energy. You're bringing something in that's kinder and gentler. So this is sort of a opening up and being more in tune with the emotional aspects of life and things like that. And I especially see that because you don't have, the only cups you have are over here, and it's in the negative, so it's more of a resistance. So the absence of really strong cups, really strong emotions, in a sort of positive aspect in this reading indicate that that's kind of the part of your life that may be missing a little bit, and that's what the situation is here to try to point you toward a little bit more. The Empress, while she's not directly associated with emotions and whatnot, that's the realm in which she operates. There is a moon, and there's the ocean with the fish, and then the earth, and all how that all works together. So this tends to be sort of the mechanics of all that situation, but she still is fundamentally tied to emotions, and that's one of the ways things have to be nurtured in an emotional way. Even plants and animals, they have to be nurtured in an emotional way as well. And some animals, like dogs, they tend to love you even if you awful to them, even if you beat them, which is sad to me. But they still have this sort of, they have an emotional need and emotional wellness, and it's like they don't care if you're giving them negative attention as long as you're giving them any attention. Right? It's when you don't give them any attention they start acting up really badly. So everything has this sort of emotional realm to it. So you have to have minimally, even if you don't like being this emotional being, you have to have a minimal development in this area to sort of fuel these other aspects of life which you do have an interest in. So your advice for the current situation, the Ace of Wands, this is to embrace new actions. So again, I recommended maybe, get a house plant and practice just showing some sort of interest in it, or putting daily attention on it. Now, you can smother plants really easy. So that may be a tough lesson for you to learn initially. So there's always a balance. You start to learn that while things do require some attention, they also require your absence to some degree. They require you to step back and to let them be what they are. And it could be that maybe you've had the wrong idea about this energy, and you've thought that it is insufferable because there's just so much thought and attention and everything always directed in some way, and that might not feel sustainable to you. Well, the good news is it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be periodic reminders that pop into your head, right, that just sort of say, well, let me go check on that, and then you kind of leave it, and then you come back and you check on it, and then you leave it, right? So there's this really healthy it's ingrained in every aspect of life, even the cycles of the days. The sun comes up, the sun goes down, and you have to go to sleep, and you have to let go of everything. If you're sitting there in bed at night thinking about everything you have to do all the time, or everything you got to do the next day, good luck going to sleep, right? So you've got to be able to let all that stuff go every day, at least one time, to be able to function, right? So this Ace of Wands is telling you to embrace this new action, embrace this idea of there's some other part of life that I can do, that I can act, and it may be something that's new to you, showing. You may be kind of a reserved person who's not entirely social all the time. It may be as simple as, reach out to somebody periodically, somebody that you genuinely care about, or you want good things for them. Reach out to them and just say, I just wanted to know how you were doing. That's action. So that's a way of inviting this more nurturing energy back into yourself. And for your environment, it's the Ace of Pentacles. This is new financial opportunity. This is something that, it looks like a plant here that's just waiting to put its roots down. So there is the environment is ripe with opportunity for you to just sort of get to, and it's funny that that's another reference to planting. So there's this environment that's ripe and fertile, ready to go. There's just minor little tweaks to your mindset that are going to be required to really make this thing flourish, to make this thing take off, and to serve you in some sort of a way. So the your fears card, the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands, and it's in the reverse. So Nine of Wands is typically somebody who's a little bit guarded. It can have this idea of PTSD, maybe not to that extent, but of feeling like you don't want to be hurt again, or you've been through some things and you're kind of cautious. It's not necessarily unwarranted, because the person definitely has been through some things. It definitely has been damaged or hurt in some sort of way in the past. But that kind of comes with mastery, right? So in the reverse, you don't want to be shut down. You don't want to be alone and feel as though there's nobody that you can trust, nobody that you can count on. I think if you look deep inside yourself, you will see that there is this at least minimal need to connect with others, to have friends, to have a romantic relationship, or to have children or something. You're already at one of those phases of life, but there's a need for you to sort of develop further, to grow in that dimension. And we all grow at different rates. It doesn't mean that you're going to go completely down that path, or you might not want to, but it is important for you to maintain some growth in every aspect of your life, because if you're not growing, you're dying, right? So you do want to invite a minimal amount of growth, at least, into yourself. Now, and this again is asking for some type of action to sort of get away from the place of thinking like, I want things to stay exactly like they are, or I'm afraid to make some sort of a move. This is to get out of that. You're going to have to just invite small actions. So you've got the Nine of Wands in your fears, which is really indicative of being afraid of bigger actions, being afraid of things that can really get you hurt, or extreme energies. Whereas what your advice here is smaller energies. This is a spark. This is a start, right? So you're being asked to sort of approach it from the bottom and work your way up. Don't just try to swing for the fence the first time. Find a way to temper this feeling that you have, that you need to develop in this sort of way, in a controlled way and in a safe way. And like I said, a plant, that's a great way to do it, because I love plants, and I don't view them as inferior forms of life, but a lot of people, they don't necessarily see it the way I do, and it's a little less traumatic to you if you end up killing a plant. So the overall message, or where you're headed for in the long run. And again, I always sort of like to clarify, this isn't set in stone. I'm giving you a peek at the direction that you're headed, and you have the ability after seeing it to adjust your trajectory a little bit to be something more in line with what you want. And you will do that naturally, even if you don't even think about it, even if you're not making steps. So you don't have to think, okay, well, what do I need to do to completely get off that path? Because it'll happen naturally, just as the result of you seeing a future that you're not really necessarily happy with. You will make some changes here. But where you're going here is the Three of Cups in the reverse. Three of Cups normally is like happy friendship and that sort of thing, but you're a little bit resistant to it. You have this is very fulfilling. There's a reason people do this. I know it can seem a little from the outside, it can seem a little contrived. It can seem a little bit like, why would you even want that? But there is a good reason for it. And resisting it, it may just be your personality, the way that you think you are, but it could also be that you're just sort of resisting a process which makes it come to fruition, and it is something that is in your future, but it's something that you're just sort of pushing back against a little bit here. So the more you free up your resistance here, the easier this energy is going to be to get to you. And even though it is in the reverse, there's really not much that's negative about that particular energy. It's great. It's fun. It's happy, and it's emotional fulfillment. So it's not like, oh, you're going to have to be around a bunch of people, but you're going to hate it. No, this is saying that there's going to be some kinship. There's going to be like-minded people that you're going to feel this sense of emotional satisfaction from. So there's really nothing to be afraid of or to resist. I mean, you may not feel like that's me, but it's going to help you in the long run, and it'll move you in that whatever direction that you're wanting to go. Because I don't have a whole lot about your ambitions here, about what you're wanting to accomplish. This is really more a message about like how to make some minor tweaks in yourself, about like how you can more easily get there to wherever it is that you're wanting to go. So sometimes, the cards give us like overall direction, like bigger picture. And this one is not so much that. This one is more of how do you kind of like remove that thorn from your finger. That's kind of what's going on here. So a little bit more specific and tight message here, but I still think good overall. If you have any questions or clarification or some other bigger issue is on your mind, please leave me a comment. If you like the reading, please subscribe and check out my other videos. I post videos all the time. So until next time, thank you for watching. This has been Dr. Shiny Tarot for Capricorn.